open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
I saw this thing on Facebook that somebody posted, and it kind of got me thinking. It was this article from this lady that was like, please stop telling my daughter that her sister is only a half-sibling.
What? Oh, no.
So basically this lady is like, my daughter and her sister, they are sisters. And even though they aren't full blood, their love is like their full blood. Okay, cool, but do you really need to tell people not to call them half-siblings? Because to you, there's this hurtful connotation. But to the average Joe that just thinks pragmatically or logically, those are legal classifications of levels of blood relation.
Yeah, that's kind of how it for our family. It's like, all the kids know, stepdaughter, half-sister, half-brother. But, we just tell them, we're all the same kids. But we don't prevent people from saying the actual terms of what they are relationship-wise.
Yeah, so we have similar situations. We both have a yours, mine, and ours type of household.
Yep.
Where we had kids with somebody else, and they had a kid with somebody else, and then we made another one. Or two in my case.
Yeah.
And I've had this debate with the Beast a number of times. Once she had her third kid, and then we had another one, she's like, oh, well, do you tell the kids that Bug's only their half-sister? I'm like, I've said it. They know. They know that E is only their stepsister.
Not going to lie to them about what the actual relationship is.
It doesn't stop that. They're all sisters. So I don't know why you're getting all extra butthurt about it. And she had that other kid. I got married and had two more. So yeah, all these kids are either full-blood, half-blood, or step-siblings. They're degrees of relation. Nothing to force other people to abandon as language. Like, tell your kid a sibling is both. No need to write a drama essay on fucking Facebook. Grow the fuck up and stop thinking that everything you disagree with demands the entire opposing group cease doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said before, I don't stop people from saying it, and it doesn't make any difference.
I could see that writing an essay, but being satirical and a dick, if someone was like, we don't have kids. We have dog children.
Okay, those people are psychotic.
I don't fucking agree with calling your pets your kids. They're like kids, but they're not. If you ever had a kid, you'd know.
Got all fours and they're furry. Well, you don't have kids.
When you have kids,
a fucking goat.
You realize your animals are just animals.
Yeah. It's funny. Is my family, my kids and my wife can't figure out why I look at it as like, oh, yeah, well, we have this dog, but I don't give a rat's ass about dog. Like, push comes to shove, dog goes bye-bye. She's part of our family. It says only to a point. When it becomes where it's not beneficial for both parties, we're done.
Yeah. Well, it's anybody that follows the show or knows me knows that two of my kids live in another household half the time. And I don't consider myself a half parent, but I also don't suffer from chronic morbid existential douchebaggery. Like, I could reverse the path of this article and yell at people like, they aren't here all the time. How dare you call those fuckers my kids when they aren't home? People would think I'm a crazy asshole, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah,
yeah.
I would.
Like, go figure. My sister was a half-sibling. We had different dads. No big deal. No one ever said anything about it because they were unfortunately too busy teasing her for being mentally retarded. But the point being is there are bigger familial issues to worry about than what titles people who aren't your family call your family. So I imagine she's getting a bunch of support from other idiot, liberal, bleeding heart housewives that are like, you go, girl. That's so smart. I hope she's getting lambasted with people that are like, you don't need to write a fucking essay on the internet because something irks you. And be like, hey, people, stop it. You could say, people say this and it upsets me. But to call for the people that are offending you to stop doing it, get over yourself. Just say, yeah, they are. But they're all the way sisters to us. See, you got your point across, and you didn't need to type for 20 minutes on your fucking phone.
And you didn't sound like a dick either.
I mean, imagine if somebody were to say to you, you're like, oh, well, Drama and Bubba don't look anything alike, really. And you could say, oh, well, they're step siblings.
Yeah.
So if people refer to your kids as
No, my wife
half
cheated on me.
siblings or step siblings, right? If somebody referred to your kids as half siblings or step siblings, would you be that offended about it?
No, then I don't even think they'd be offended about it. It's just we just chose to make things simpler. Just say, oh, you're all brothers and sisters, because they are. I mean, through marriage, it doesn't even matter. It's every once in a while, drama will be like, well, you're not my real dad. It's like, yeah, I'm aware, but it was a discussion we were having not too long ago. I said, oh, I'm reaping what I sow with my children. And she's like, well, no, I was saying that, the parent curse. I hope you have kids just like you.
Oh.
It's like, oh, yeah, and I just got screwed in that deal. And she's like, well, you're not really my dad. I says, I know. She's like, so, really, you don't have any. I was just like, I was giving her a little bit of shit this time. I was like, oh, okay, I see where I rank. And she's starting. I could tell she's starting to tear up a little bit. I says, no. I says, drama. I understand it, but despite the fact that genetically you're not mine, you're not inheriting certain traits from me. You have lived with me, and I have called you family and treated you as such since you were a year old.
Nature versus nurture.
And what I do does rub off on you a little bit. The examples I'm setting, you're learning, and she kind of got that when I explained it that way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this woman from the article says, it wounds her daughter deeply to be told that her sister's only a half sibling.
Tell you what, I'll go to my house and conduct a survey.
Why?
You conduct one here.
They don't fucking care.
I don't think they do either, but let's do this scientifically.
I mean, at no point has Bug been reticent enough to get mad at somebody and say, I wish you weren't my sister. But I have heard Chi-Chi and Little E go back and forth with, I wish you weren't my sister. I wish we weren't sisters. And Little E has been like, well, I wish that my mom wasn't married to your dad anymore so I didn't have to live with you. And I'm like, wow, that's a really fucking cunty thing to say.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to punch you in the fucking face while you're sleeping.
Turtle said something like that tonight. She says, I hate everyone in this house. And Mom was like, who? She's like, I hate Bubba, and I hate drama, and I hate Pubert, and I just wish I didn't live with them anymore. So it's like, you'd probably be really bored if you all of a sudden woke up and didn't have any siblings.
Well, there was a thing tonight where my hands are always cold in the winter. There's no way I can keep them warm. So I like to sneak up on the kids and put my hand up the back of their shirt and go, freezy cold hands.
Oh, Jesus.
And they laugh about it. Well, I did that to the back of Little E's leg because she's prancing around in a fucking t-shirt and these shorts that barely go down past her anus. And she's like, oh my God, I hate you. And she said it like jokingly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to do it to Bug, who's 2, and she's like, oh, I hate that. I hate you, Daddy. And I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? And I looked at Little E. I'm like, are you teaching her things you shouldn't be teaching her? So I fucking got in my 2-year-old's face and gave her 2 swats on the ass and said, you don't tell me that. You don't say those things. You don't tell people you hate them, especially not family. Because I have the banned words list in my house, and hate is a word I don't allow them to use. I have come up with a list of words that I don't sanction under this roof because they're things you say that are hurtful that you don't mean, and you can't take back things you say when you're angry, or they're these fucking idiotic self-defeatist attitudes like, I can't do that. No, you can. You just haven't fucking tried. So don't say you can't. You just don't know how. There's a difference. And that led to me years ago coining the catchphrase, stop crying and start trying. And people heard me say that shit at the park and were like, holy shit. Like laughing, but also like, wow. I don't think that it's harmful to point out to children that they're not blood related all the way. Now, it might hurt their feelings that they don't have a full blood sibling, because Little E, well, she's the oldest, but she's technically got like middle child syndrome here, because she's sandwiched between 2 full blood sisters and a full blood brother and sister. And I don't know, that might just be an ironic circumstance that reflects in her personality, because lately she's been this like one-upper. You know what I mean by a one-upper?
No, I'm not following that.
A one-upper is someone who will hear you say something and be like, oh, yeah, well, I did this. Or I've done that, but I've also done that. They have to one-up everything somebody says. So if someone is in the baby's face getting them to coo or laugh, she's got to get up in his face. If I'm having fun with my 2-year-old, she's got to come over and get involved. If her sisters are having fun with the 2-year-old, she's got to come over and like get in between them and get in her face. Like she has to be involved or she feels like she's missing out.
That's Bubba when we're all swapping stories. He's gotta have a better story. And usually they suck.
Yeah, well. So basically, I don't need to go much further with this, but if you're going to write articles, if you're going to express your feelings on the internet, from a strictly entertainment and authorship point of view, you should look at it less like you're expressing your opinion and stating your feelings as much as spouting representative facts and what you wish things were like, as opposed to things need to be this way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, let's say somebody writes an article, Donald Trump is terrible for America, and you people need to stop thinking you're going to vote for him again.
How many times have we seen that article?
Well, you would write that more effectively as, these are the reasons why I think Donald Trump has been a poor president, and I really hope he doesn't get reelected. It's just like the last episode. It's a different way of getting your point across, and it's much more effective. Because it's not like you're pointing a finger like, how dare you?
It makes me want to read, okay, what are their opinions on what he has done wrong? Versus those are like, you know, these are the reasons why you should vote for Trump. You know, it's just a positive spin. It's just like, well, kind of curious to read that, like kind of what they're citing as reasons to vote for him again or something. So,
well, I'd love to write an article pointed at my mom like, stop telling me that my life would be better if I had God in my life. Stop telling me I need to go back to church. I don't. If I think that Downton Abbey is a terribly boring fucking show, don't tell me how good you think it is and that I should give it another chance. Except that I have come to the conclusion that I don't like it, and that you can still enjoy it without trying to make me jump on your bandwagon, much the way that religious people are like, well, you should really go to church. Well, you should have God in your life. Why? So we can all sit around and stare up at the clouds and feel unfulfilled that some imaginary fucking man in heaven isn't answering our self-absorbed, selfish little shitty prayers?
You really need to listen to George Carlin's deal on God. It's hilarious and it's very accurate. It's like the whole reason he doesn't believe in God is fantastic, you know. And it's kind of like I didn't adopt that fully, but I adopted a lot of what he said.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I also wonder, like, I wrote a counterpoint to that article.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I shared the article that I saw with the lady with the half-sibling bullshit on my own timeline, and then wrote a blurb about it. And, of course, I didn't get many responses at all. I got 2 acknowledgments from people.
I'm not even sure I saw it.
I don't know. I noticed that when you have a negative opinion about people's heartfelt writing pieces, that you get ignored. Why? Why can't I not have a counter argument to this? Which is, you can tell people to not do it, but why?
Well, as you kind of said it earlier, it's the bleeding heart liberal left. It's, well, this woman is doing what's fantastic. We should all just do this. Well, all of a sudden it becomes, no, you can't have an opinion against this.
Well, I'm really hoping that people railed against her on the internet. Just fucking let her have it. So I'm hoping for a follow-up piece that's something like, stop telling me I'm a dumb twat for writing that article about my kids. It hurts my feelings.
You're never going to see it. What she's probably going to do is tell them all they're assholes and they don't deserve to be breathing, and then she'll delete the post and pretend it never happened.
Good. She should delete the post.
Because that's what a lot of people do when they're angry on the internet.
Assholes. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number 1 fan, Tim.
And that's the end.